So this episode is about to be the baddest episode of all times because I have one of the baddest boys or men to ever come out of Nollywood. Trust me, I don't think anybody else can never feel those shoes again. Or maybe somebody's coming, but I don't know. But guys, please put your hands together for Jim Iyke.
Thank you.
This is a very legendary episode.
Thank you for having me, T.
You guys agree? Yeah, thank you for coming on my couch. Thank you for coming on my show. When I heard that you were coming this morning, I went to your Instagram and I'm like, I'm going to be talking to this man. Let me just see what's been up to lately. And I went there, I just realized that you're not following anybody. That's a very Beyonce move. Like, what's up?
Well, from day one, I got on social media. I didn't want to follow anybody. I pretty much wanted to establish the fact that this is a marketplace. Okay, it's a pseudo reality in there. It's not what people want to take as their everyday life. And if you see, every one of my posts is tailored. I don't post my family. I don't post my personal endeavors. There's certain things I think should be left for one to to experience alone. There are 3 tiers of life that I live.
Yeah,
I live the private life. No, let me start. I live the public life. I live the private life. I live the secret life.
Right.
Social media is the public life. Okay. If I want to make a statement in style, if I want to make a statement on my ideology and principles, if I want to market something, if I want to promote whatever, or serve a new understanding or my opinion on something, that is where I should be. Or if I'm having a good time with people that don't also mind being on that platform, I go there. The associates I have, business associates I have that are not concerned with this. They're even though really young people as well that could not be concerned with this, and I have kids that run the mall in any part of the world and nobody points at them and say, hey, I know that face.
Right.
They will make their mistakes. They will have their feelings. They'll have their triumphs. And nobody will judge them by the standards of public domain or opinion. They will live that life, that normal life. So I ostracized that. It was very deliberate. And I felt in that need, there's nobody. I'm going to create my own version of social media interaction.
Amazing. Oh, it makes sense now. But I mean, like, you think they're following a few people? Maybe like Misha.
Yes. I'll tell you, I followed 5 people. So they had a family meeting on my head. I'm an only son.
Yeah.
I have 6 sisters.
Wow. 7,
actually, 1 passed. So they all said, I said, listen, you have to do this. I said, first of all, I've protected you people of my life. We don't share the same last name. Okay? No, we don't.
What's your real name?
My real name is James Iyke Isomoa.
Wow.
Okelue.
Wow.
That's my great-grandfather's name. Now, everybody goes with that last one.
Yeah.
Okay? And from day one, I figured that part out, even before I understood what the industry was. I said, if I'm going on this journey, if I'm going to embark on this journey, I'm going to go alone. I'm going to go through the trials, the ups and downs that comes with this journey. And if it works, okay, I'll be the focus of it. If it doesn't, I would have exempted these people from whatever comes with it.
So you already had a plan to protect your family?
I had that strategy from day one. And now there's an extension of it to my next generation, which are my sons. So, I said, how about if I'm so famous, I can't walk around public places? What will happen to the relationship with my sisters? They were the ones I was thinking about then. And then my mom. When my mom was alive, my mom wasn't more like a mother. My mom was like my best friend. We travel together, we hang out together, we shop together. Yeah, we're business partners too. Wow. So I was thinking, this freedom, this openness. I was at the mall earlier. I was born in Gabon, by the way. And I was in Libreville once with my mom at the market when this singer, it was a singer then, I can't even remember his name. And there was total chaos in the market. And I took something away from that experience. And I said, okay, someday, if I'm more famous than this guy, so that it will probably compromise the relationship I have with my loved ones. So I took that decision then and said, you know what? What can I take away from my name? Jim Iyke. Jim Iyke was born.
Sorry, this is very interesting. But how old were you when you planned all these things?
I started when I was about 19 and a half. I was done my first degree at about 19 or so. And
you were done with your first degree at 19?
Yeah, I skipped 2 classes, by the way.
Okay,
I'm not a genius. I was just...
Because you sound like a genius.
I was quite smart in school.
Yeah, okay.
I was. But the change of plan came when I met somebody along the line, and then something creative was born in me, and a desire to be an actor. And then I went back home to discuss it. My dad said, listen, I remember if I say it in Igbo verbatim, it's funnier. Say, touch my forehead and start to keep banning again. So be What
does that mean?
It means this fever that's been bugging you for the last week is back. Because he couldn't fathom why a straight-A student will wake up one day and want to go act. Have you seen these people's lives?
Acting was never in the works for you,
no,
your parents, your family, because that's not really the line that you'd have told.
It wasn't in the picture.
So you finished school first. You finished uni.
Yes.
And you said that you wanted to act.
Got my postgraduate as well. And then the understanding was my dad's boss, my dad's main issue then was to afford the next year of education for me abroad. But his boss my dad was very close to his boss. They were ready to pitch in and send me either to Europe or America. I don't know where they were planning. You're not in the know. It's not your business. They just wake up one day and tell you have 1 month to go to so place. You put your act together.
Wow.
That's what they did with my cousin. So, I've never rebelled at home. I've always been a model.
Sorry?
I've never rebelled at home. I'm telling you, that's why this was a total disorder. This was something that it's not a normal thing for them, because I've never really rebelled. I've always followed the status quo. I've always followed, where they point.
Okay. So
they build their dreams and aspirations around you. You know how it is with our parents.
Yeah.
So they also, I'm telling you, the issue of conviction, our parents, we could learn from our parents, is a certain systematic condition, a certain brainwashing, if you will. But it works for your best interest if you follow the roadmap, if you follow the script. When you derail, that's when there's an issue. Because usually they think they have the best order worked out for you.
I think it's just because of the fears of actual parents, because they know that life is not as easy. So they would rather you to a line that they think that's going to be perfect for you. But by the time that you started to go into Nollywood, you were this all A student who was doing well already, who could have gone on to do masters and whatnot. How did the bad boy narrative? Because you just said that you never rebelled when you were
here's the
younger.
Here's the understanding. When I made up my mind I was going to do this, women with their beautiful instincts. I grew up with women. I'm pro women anytime.
Me too.
So they sat and had a meeting and said, listen, the kid is done. But the next guy in my class is like 23, 24. So he's way ahead. Let him go off a year if it doesn't work. He'll come back and do this thing, which was the bargain. The women of my home were pushing for me.
Yeah.
He wouldn't hear of it. And of course, he was fueled by my uncles as well. They were like, nah, once they identify a star in the family, everybody rallies around to make it work, because everybody will benefit from that.
Yeah. And you were the only boy.
I was the only boy.
Yeah.
But again, their own kids too were my brother. They were leveling up there. So I was the one that showed tremendous promise in the academia. So my uncles were like, don't let him. That once he derails, he keeps going. So he hangs with bad company. This Lagos we're talking about, that is where all dreams go and die. Because,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, we lived in Abuja. So, the thing was that you are going to allow him go to Lagos. You know the understanding of Lagos, the whole perception of Lagos then. So I had to go. And we had a fight. The thing is that we've been going back and forth, the ill feeling. You must understand, the man was like my best friend. We're the only male with this women. So the women were always ganging up against us. So we had to form natural allies. So all of a sudden, it was fight and arguments every day. And then he raised his hand on me. He's never done that before.
Ooh.
Yeah, I came back one evening and it was like, okay, you're loafing around now. Because every time he raises the subject of, me looking at school options to go to another. I won't have it. We'll start an argument. I think that day he just wanted to really take it drastically. And so a bad one happened and he raised his hand and set an ultimatum and said, if you don't make up your mind 48 hours, there can be 2 captains in this house. I think he said it possibly to drive the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
They know I've not really suffered in my life before. I've never seen the other side of town, so to speak. But I took it seriously. I went to my mom's purse the next day. I saw 2,700 naira, pinched it. I went to my big sister's purse. I saw $500. I pinched it. I even stole from my last born too. I think they all had, she had like 250 naira she's been saving for, I don't know, whatever. God forgive me. So
What year was this? What year was this?
This was a long, I don't even want to mention.
Please, so give us perspective because they're only 2,500, 300, 250. Please give us perspective.
Okay, then it meant money.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Early 2000. No, late 19, it was about 1999.
Okay.
Okay. No, so yeah, about that time. So it meant money.
Yeah.
I mean, inflation and all that.
Yeah.
The 250 bucks could easily mean 2,500 naira now.
Right. Yeah.
So I took it all. The idea was to raise up to 10K. Well, yes, but they didn't have up to 10K. The only place that I had was my dad's room, and I didn't want to take that.
So you didn't have any money?
I didn't have money.
But you're a graduate at the time.
Yeah?
You're a graduate at the time.
What? Excuse me. What's he talking about?
So maybe
I had some money,
right?
But I mean, it wasn't up to 5K.
Okay.
The entire thing I raised from my house wasn't up to 5K either. The target was 10, bro.
Okay.
So I left that night on a night bus. Wow. I picked up my stuff and left. The only thing I took from my dad was his pair of shoes that was still in the living room downstairs. He didn't take upstairs. I needed shoes, man. That was the nicest shoe I saw. I moved it to. And I came to my cousin. My dad actually, so there was a time my dad was like, quote unquote, the wealthiest in my, so what they do then was he called all the young men and women and said, listen, I'm going to bring all your kids of a certain age. I'll school everybody. I'll fund everybody's school. So this dude was one of the beneficiaries of my dad's educational fund then. I went to him. So every day it was like, we'll go out. And then I already made the link. So it was ECOWAS. I'll go for auditions. So every time I went for auditions, they had these small parts for me. And I said, I'm not interested in small parts. And these dudes would be like, you're broke.
Really?
You've been wearing this jean and t-shirt for ages. We know you wash it. That you're clean, but you're broke. We see you walking down all the time to catch buses so that you can exhaust 2 bus packs before you get. That was what I used to do. So I walked 2 bus packs so that my money would be enough to fund me to Akonwanjo where we were.
That's a better area.
Dude, I was out of town too.
Ooh.
So
like the struggling actor.
The struggle actor story, I embodied it.
What? Did you have a conviction you're going to be a star?
Bro, there was nothing to go with. So every time I came, I knew and I'd seen, and again, I was also someone that researches a lot. I've seen the others, especially my friends. I had a couple of friends, I don't want to name their names now, that I found out that every time, and don't forget, I was 3rd generation Nollywood. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I am. So the first when Ramsey, Iyke, and the rest, Kate Henshaw. Second came just at a time where Genevieve and the others worked. That's when I kind of, came in. So we're looking up to these guys. I remember when they came to my school, I was in Unijust. When they came to Unijust, everybody of note lost their girlfriends. Everybody. Bro, no exception. Luckily, I was going between relationships. I would have lost mine too. Because, and that got me thinking that I saw these guys, please, no pun intended, they didn't look like much then. And the dudes that lost their girlfriends were the cream de la cream of our school. These were mixed race boys, cream boys, clean boys. We knew at that time we were already shopping abroad. But these chicks dumped all of us for these dudes. Even my ex, man, thank God I dumped her before she made that move. Went over there, and the person she was hanging around with, I'm like, sorry. I met her there's a place called Bus Park in school. I met her and like, you left me for that. What isn't that you left me for?
It's a star.
But I'm glad I dumped you though, because she was like, no, it's not that. But that's the whole point. the whole point, I was like, what is the magic here? What do these people have that's extraordinary that will make everybody we looked up to in school live for them? And as soon as they were gone, they dumped all the girls, and the girls came back begging to these guys. Anyway, moving forward, I already knew these guys that started small. They kept offering them these small roles. So every time I'll come, they would tell me, listen, and I was acing these auditions. I was killing it. And every time they would come here and say, listen, we have our big names. You're nobody. These guys built it. Let's give you small roles. I'll support these big names and you grow from there. I refuse. I would trek back. And then my cousin too, well, is like a cousin, was getting frustrated with me.
Because you didn't have any work.
Because finally they figured out that, okay, this was not an in-between before he goes to Europe. This dude has actually been disowned, you know. It was, I turned from asset to liability over that.
Wow.
As an asset, they could call home anytime and say he's with us. I'm like, that would send them some money and say, okay, keep him there. But when they called, they said, listen, this dude left. He even stole our money before he left.
So all the time that you were in Lagos,
bring him back. Yeah.
Your dad didn't reach out to say, you know what? Do you want some money? Do you want to come back home?
No, you see that the act of rebellion of even leaving, the first order of business, what they found out, made sure that I was safe. I was at home with somebody they could trust. The next thing is that if they save me from that situation, it will keep going down, to keep, to just keep going, getting out of hand. So the understanding was that let me go through it and find out that it's not that easy and I'll run back home. So there was a general bet at home. The girl said, 4 months, tops, he's back. My dad said, I give him 1 month. He can't survive it out there. My mom was the one that made the prediction, bless her soul. My mom said, okay, you people don't even understand. Because nothing was done to him for him to move. So there's something strong driving him. If that boy doesn't get what he wants, he's not coming back. So let's start finding a way to work with him. So there was a standing rule. My dad said nobody should help, nobody should extend any harm to him, not even succor. Let him go through it. He will come back. It took 2 years. Yeah, I didn't go home for 2 years. So between them, one profound thing happened. I went for an audition once. All the big names were there. Guys that are friends of mine right now, for the generation before me. Now, Francis Dura at that time, okay, just came for that same role and decided he wanted more money. So they all of a sudden they say, you know what, we have the biggest names here. Kate Henshaw's here. There's this lady that lives in New York now. She used to be, Regina Asker was there. There was a big producer then. His past, I won't mention his name as well. He said, where's that boy that's always turning down small roles? You see how it works? How you speak it into it. You said, bring him. I think it's time. Let's put him with the big names. So I aced it. And all the girls were like, Regina, everyone was like, I'll give it to him. He's on point. He looks the part. So they gave it to me. Now, the big boys went back and had a meeting and decided, this is one person we don't want in our fold. So what is the problem? The 50K more that he asked for will contribute 10K each. Bring him back. I just got the script. They pay me 7,500. I will never forget it for the rest of my life.
7,500?
Yes, for a role that was meant to be paid for about, I think, between 150 to 200K. I didn't find out the real figure. As I was leaving, dude called me back and said, but I say, you don't go get this role. So I gave it to him. I know he took the script from me and said, for the 6.5, he's still willing to give me a small role. So I should keep the money, but I should come play small role. I refused.
Wait. Are you saying that they were offering you roles and they're offering you roles? You never took any of them?
Yes.
But did you have any experience acting before?
Mm-mm.
So you rejected all the roles?
Psychology.
Didn't it cause problems for you in the industry? Didn't people talk about you?
Yeah, I was hated for no reason. They thought it was an offish,
because even that to be a problem for you.
Superior attitude, and a lot of people thought it was an arrogance born out of nothing. Because for you to aspire to that level, you have to have something going for you. Yeah. But not when you're trekking with us to get bosses at the end of the day. You can't even pay for a meal at the end of the day, and you've been wearing the same jean back to back for a week. So I mean, and nobody knows your dad's name. It's not like some huge, trust fund. You're not a trust fund baby. You're struggling like us. Why can't you take these roles and survive?
Yeah.
But I wasn't about survival. I wanted to thrive. They're all surviving. I didn't want that, you know? So, I mean, the one thing I had going for me was I was already done with school while most of them were, I hadn't even started.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood what it meant to be patient and commit to my ideals and work for it. An opportunity will come. I understood that much.
Yeah.
So anyway, he took the script from me, offered his role. I refused. He told me to give him back his 6.5. My brother, out of that money, I already spent $300 because I went out to me. Then you didn't have cell phones and all that. There was this stands where you make calls. So I already called my cousin's office. You know, this one I stepped out to make the call that they had this meeting on my head. So I called him and said, guess what? I just killed this role. I just got my first major role. I just made 6.5.
Wow.
He said, first of all, enter supermarket. Spend 3K. Give me a list of what we needed in the house. I said, I'm buying it. It's my turn. I'm treating you guys. Tonight, be on me. I came back. They took the money from me. It's 6,200. He said, where's my 300 naira? I told him I spent it. He was pissed at me. You know, I remember what he told me. He told me, okay. He said, look at you. You could just carry your shoulder high. Nothing that happened for your life. He told me things that could break me. No, it broke me. But I didn't want to give him
satisfaction
to see me cry there. So I just shrugged it off and walked away. And when I walked away, I just found a corner and I sat down. And that was when the whole fight was out of me. I said I was going home. So I cried fast because I knew what I was going to face at home as well. This guy was giving me the cold shoulder. There were days he wouldn't give me a meal. He would make me wash his car sometimes, you know. And then, this was a dude that my parents pretty much raised with everything. And so he thought since I was persona non grata at home, he could treat me anyhow. He spoke to me a certain way, you know. And I couldn't, this was my leg up. And I just lost it. You know, so after crying, I realized I didn't have money for bus. So that was another reality that hit me. And I really didn't feel like walking that day. It was one of those days everything's been drained out of you. Few minutes later, Regina, she just bought the new RV. I remember vividly. So they were driving past and they stopped. I'm like, what are you doing here? I wanted to lie and say I'm waiting for my cousin to pick me up. Well, they were older girls. They understood the deal that, bros, nothing's happening. Cool down. Yeah. Counted some money, gave me.
Wow.
And said, listen, my brother, listen, spoken like a little brother and said, listen, a lot is going to happen. I haven't seen anybody with your principles and you're gifted for this. Ask me if I went to theater. I said, no. I just said, listen, you're going to do well. Just be strong, you know? So I took the money and I was so grateful. They drove away. I went back and I called him. He's nearly mentioned his name. So I asked him to come out. I wanted to see him. And he said, what? I said, come on, sir, please. When he came out, I said, why did you do this to me? You know, I could have done that role better than... He said, is that why you coming for? I thought you came back to take this role. Even that role, he has just given to someone, but he has another small one he will give me. I said, okay, let me put it this way. In 2 years from now, you're going to be working for me.
You said that to a director?
And it slapped me, yes. It slapped me. And chaos broke out because I wanted to fight back, and
you're really that boy.
So I left. I went back. My cousin was so mad. He thought I lied to him because what those chicks gave me was 1.5. I spent some coming back. I also ate out of it. So I probably had like $900 when I'm going. And he said, no, I've been lying, So he threw my things out. So he threw my things out. And the landlady upstairs had the chaos and came down like, why are you throwing this boy? I say, I lied to him. I'm just loafing around. Every time he'd be telling me, go and take these small roles to survive. Like, do you know, instead telling her about my parents and how I left home and everything. And the woman was like, is that why you're throwing your own blood out?
Yeah.
What's your relationship with the dad? And he said all kinds of stuff, that lady, I slept out that day, by the way, by the balcony. And I was hoping sometime in the course of the night he was going to come.
Oh, he left you outside?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, left me outside. And I was hoping and sometime he was going to call me and say, come back.
At that point, did you break? Did you want to just go back home and just...
I was empty, man. There's no feeling anymore. There was absolutely nothing more. At that point, I just I just made the boldest move of my life because, I was sheltered and all that. And this was happening. So I just thought, okay, I needed to prove everybody wrong. There was a will there that I didn't know it came from, but everything had gone at that point. So early in the morning, she came out, called me. The husband was at the balcony. And he had this face, this wise face that, I just came in there. He just came and opened. I swear, that man just knew I needed a hug. So I went up. He just opened his hand. And I went in there. I had a good cry.
You needed it.
I was tired of just putting up that face. I just didn't want anybody to see me break. But after crying, so wash your face. I remember what they gave me was pap. He was having pap and he was asking me if I wanted cornflakes. I wanted pap. So he gave me pap, gave me bread. And I didn't want to eat as much as I wanted to. so I had a respectable...
Make it not be like
stay. But my brother, the idea was to clean up the table.
Wow.
So he said, listen, his baby brother, their last born just came back from England to do his 7. He just finished master's, it was 7. And they have this house and live in the boys' quarters. And they wanted me to go take the other room there. It's already done up. My brother, your grace will not come from your family. The earlier you learn that, the better.
When did the big break finally come?
I went back to this house and I met a brother. Kinde became my brother in ever earnest, meaning of
the guy from the UK?
Yes. He taught me things that, he became like the big brother I've never had. I ride with him to camp, hang out with him. Funny, I served before him, so I was the one teaching him that part of that life, but he taught me about life. I rediscovered, I've loved books all my life. The joy died when I was in Nollywood, those 2-3 years. So they rekindled that, made me respectable again, bought me clothes. I could also borrow some of his clothes.
Wow.
We hang out together. He's a dark guy, a little well-built. So nobody knew we're not related.
Brother,
we'll scheme together, take cars from Mama, as I came to call her, and then go hang out, You got me a girlfriend, man, made me respectable again. So he would drive me to auditions, and then this time things had changed. As soon as it wasn't looking good, we'll go back into the car and go and flex, Jerry, forget these people.
Wow.
So we're doing it back to back. Then something happened. Afro Hollywood happened. So when Afro Hollywood happened, all the major faces in Hollywood, that was their first time traveling abroad. So they all left. The expectation was that in 1 month they would come back. After Hollywood was the next week anyway. So, I never got abroad before. So flex for 3 weeks, come back to work. All of them are literally the biggest names all left for it. We never even do anything. We're still hanging around. So after 1 month, these guys found girlfriends, hung out there. They didn't come back for 2 months.
Are you saying your colleagues left?
Yes, for an award called Afro Hollywood in London.
And they stayed there?
So, they stayed longer than necessary. So there was a vacuum.
This jack party don't be today.
There was a vacuum. So that vacuum, right? Basically, a lot of them didn't come back. Some came back, but not the big ones. There was a vacuum that time. And in that vacuum, marketers had to do business. So all the big female names were there. Women have always taken care of their business properly.
Right.
So they came back, So they were like, okay, what we could do now? Hey, where's that boy that's always saying he doesn't want to do small room?
Wow.
Can't bring him. So they brought me and Barbara Udor, the prisoner. Boom, I hit that.
That was your first
and I understood the assignment, my brother. When I got there, because I don't suffer enough. So I wasn't, when I got there, they were telling me, it was supposed to be an outrageous, junky, rich kid that I knew the work. I got there, they gave me some funny costumes. They paid me 15K for that role. I took 10K from that money and bought my own personal costumes. That's when it started. That's when I started paving way to wardrobe. I decided what you guys, so they come in the minutes, they come. I hear say they give problem. No, they ask for money for waiting. To buy clothes. You go where waiting they give you this boy and just do this and then come out here. I decided, okay, I didn't want to rock the boat, so I used my money. So I was using my stuff so much, the wardrobe fell in love with me.
Yeah.
I went to him and said, man, see what he's doing now. Then took him behind my back and said, see all this thing, no be me bring him now, this boy bring him home. So the guy come and say, use your money. How much I pay you? 15K. How much you spend for this? I said, 10K. So only 5K you owe.
Yeah. But you knew what you were looking for.
Yeah, I knew what I So he just went to his car, put that thing and gave me. I didn't want to collect the money at first.
That's the stylist.
No. The EP, the executive producer.
Right.
So I was looking at the money like, what do I have? Man, this 10K this guys give me. I hope I'm not going to have.
Yeah.
But, he gave me. And I went back and I bought more clothes. King Day was like my assistant. We'll come to set together. I wears it. He said, no, it's over the top. I said, no, the character is over the top. We're reading together.
So you had not had any experience in acting, but your character had to be dressed a certain way.
I researched it to the end. But anyways, we came to $1. Again, another assertiveness took over. Because when we got there, they say, you know what? The script was watery as F. It was the dumbest script I've ever read. Yeah, straight to the writer. You tried to kill my career.
It's just on this seamless.
The dumbest.
The show just started. I love it.
So apparently, the director, forgive me, my brother, you're still around, wasn't very insightful. Well, they was about to say action. The owners of the movie were standing behind. So King Day was on that set with me, and I told him I'm about to go crazy on these people. The way I read the script, the way I wanted to interpret it was totally different, adverse to what was written. I went to the director and said, sir, I'm a trained psychologist. He said, who trained you? How old are you? I told him I was 20. He said, which time you come out of school? First of all, I didn't even believe I was done.
But do you study psychology?
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
So I was like, I've dealt with the behavior part. I was using certain terms and the guy didn't want to listen to me. So I decided I knew what to do. So action, the entirety of what you saw in that scene in $1 was all improvised, top to bottom. That's why nobody reacted. The part I tapped Mama G's ass, the part I pulled Larry Cole's beard, through garden egg at what's the name, the lead, then I don't care. I just destroyed everybody. And then every time the director was trying to say cut, the EP was there saying, no, wait. What is going on? Just wait. They ran the course of the scene. The EP, two of them stood there. They were the biggest name. Whoever is the biggest name, then go and recite. They were the ones. I will. So the director jumped in, grabbed me by the scuff, man. Was yelling at me. Mama Ju was like, this small boy, you slap my nyash. Like, so you pull my beard. Everybody hated me on that set. And the guy said he promises me I will never get a job as long as he leaves on this set. Wow. So this was what I told him I was coming here to do. They should get out. They should bring me somebody else. And the director was like, the EP said, come. And the guy came. He told him, ask this boy if he can repeat everything again. Because what they took for long, no, only one camera now. So now they needed
multiple angles.
Yeah. They needed close up, they needed medium shots and all that. I said, I can repeat. I was very calm. My own was that nobody should touch me in this chaos.
Oh, so like when they said cut, everybody came at you.
Everybody. They wanted to physically maul me.
And you were not bothered?
I just stepped back and waited for the first person that will come. So I'll make an example of that person. My brother, no. Sometimes you can't make any drastic change without, I anticipated the reaction. Why wouldn't I anticipate it? I knew the monologue acting that was going to take place that time. I just brought something to the table none of y'all can handle, man. So I stood and waited. So the first person I really wanted to make an example was that director.
You wanted to beat him?
Because he's the one that's been on my case that nearly killed my vibe for this. So the guy said, can you do the media? I said, every one of them. Now they had to school them into what I just performed for the cut to this. There was just too much. They couldn't follow up. That's why a lot of the shots didn't have detailed action. I repeated it. Third time I repeated it. And that was nobody. So I turned around to apologize. Listen, I'm just starting out. You guys, I think this is the way it should be done. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody. Only Mama G at that point just forgave me. Like, why you did that in this boy? They crazy. And you just laughed at me and walked away, But everybody hated me, man. And I was feeling low. I left. I went back. And they told me, my scene was done that day. They told me that, usually it's done. Maybe you want to stay one more day. They told me, listen, the next morning, they didn't want to find me in that room. See that room, that hotel room they gave me in Onitsha. They shouldn't want to find me. And I had a little balance to pick up. I was too afraid. At this point, I was afraid of going for my balance. So early in the morning, the EP shows up. I said, why you do that thing? I wanted to lie and say, I don't know. I said, because that's the way it should be done. He said, that's why you did it. You know, they nearly beat you there. I said, I just did. I said, but I mean, I did it well. This is the way junkies behave. This is the way, you know, I said, you know what? Do I have any number you can contact me? So I gave him Kende's number. Kende had that 090 cell phone that just came out then.
Yeah.
And he said, I go. They don't pay you. I said, no, I no one go collect the money. They figured that me beat me there. He said, how much would they owe you? I said, 5K. He took 10K. I don't know what was the issue with 10K then. He took 10K and gave me. And I left. A week later, he called me, They came, they said, I think this is the big one. I mean, this guy's calling. So I went over there and he handed me 2 scripts, you know, and paid me, 50K each for them cash and said, I want you to do these 2 films as lead. So I took that away. Yeah. Now that film, this happened before Prisoner. So when Prisoner came and the big names left, they came for me. And I think I got like 8 jobs back to back. I did then, like 8 back to back. And for everyone, I'll set more money. I'll ask for more money. They kept paying because there was no option. And of course, the word of mouth was like, damn, he's killing this rose, man. I mean, why didn't we give this guy a chance since he is destroying this rose? And the world diverse rose.
So The Gift and the Odds, Walking Through the Walls, Jim Iyke. What are the necessary learnings? Why did you write this book? What are the necessary learnings that we need to take from this book?
I wrote this book at a time where I wasn't sure what was happening in the world. My plan was in 2022, this year, I had a short stint I was going to do at Harvard. So I decided in that 4-5 month course, I was going to write a book. That was what my team and I decided. You're going to be off track for 4-5 months. Okay, so use it and write this book. I have this Tatafo that is like my main, like the boy that a brother I don't have. She's my gangster, the one that always do the bad and good things. When you call me and say, come, you go die. You're not used to this. You've never stayed a week without your mind moving and doing stuff. That's how I'm wired. If my mind is not more nimble and latching. So listen, write this book now. This book you've been talking about. All of us day house now, we need to do anything. Send research materials. Let's start. We'll be throwing you research material, whatever you want. Just, compactalize it. Get somebody. I'm now your secretary, but this is what I want. So I struck a deal, got bargain across the board. You own this person, you own me. You are offered this. I offered a deal across the board for different things. So if I had like 10 subjects to speak about, I would spread like each research material to everybody. They will bring it in good time. We appraise it, discuss it. So we were having 4-5 hour conversation, 2 hours a break, 2 hours a break. Nothing, everybody was doing anything. It was very enriching. It was like a classroom, a very unorthodox classroom of sorts. So we'll do that, then I'll write at night. So my little guy hangs out. By 10, he's asleep. I put him to bed. I start work. I walked in the morning. He wakes me up. He was my assistant in a sense. My PA. He arranges all the mess. And he was doing his part too. And that's why he owns 15% of the book.
Oh, wow. You gave him a percent?
Yeah, I had to. He walked. He has to eat. I taught him he has to eat. Amazing. It's in his trust fund. He owns 15%.
This book, I need to read it. Because it will change my life. I think we can easily say this is a compendium of all the valuable lessons that you have learned in your lifetime.
It's not classroom rhetorics. There's nothing. I've been to some of the best classes. It's not, whatever I wrote there was totally adverse to everything classically I learned. Everything. They're all textbook rhetorics. They're all stuff that lazy people conjured up to impact on body minds. And they will sponge it up. It's not a Babio. 4 generations learned about you.
Went there.
We all learned the same thing. What is new? You read the textbook I read.
Nothing has changed.
Ty, you read the textbook I read. 3 generations. My son will come go. They'll bring up Babio. He'll read it too. The paradigm constantly shift. The times constantly shift. The evolution has gone from industrial to computer age to now the revolutionary age. Another one. We're even at the brink of another one that we're yet to fathom. And yet you read books that were relevant, that are now redundant, that was obsolete some 10 years ago. to be practiced in these recent times. It's not possible.
Whew, this was an episode. It was intense. Like I know that you are deep, but I didn't. This depth is a lot, and I'm happy that I will probably keep this copy. Is it possible to keep this?
So I've ordered copies.
Okay, but for people,
It's an ebook, so I've ordered copies.
Yeah,
okay?
but I like this physical code where I feel read like
Yeah.
this.
So what I did was that, if you order, I ordered 100. The first 50 I did, my dad took 20. He stole it literally. So he's giving it to his friends and signing it. And I told my dad, listen, I've done a lot of great things in my life. Why are you particularly? This is the first one you've actually come out to get excited. My dad is a reader, he's a book person, he's a bookworm. Like my dad, sometimes I think my dad loves books more than I compete with his love of books. So this is the first time he thinks, oh, you really you've achieved this book you've written. The movie thing never impressed him. He just likes the largest, the returns of what comes from it. But this one, he thinks, okay, now this whole brilliance is being put on print. And I like that because we talk, we argue, we're always arguing about the superior sense of presence of any subject under the sun. And he keeps telling until you drive a narrative where people can read from. Okay, you're just talking. So I think when I told him I'm done, 15 done.
Oh, you're done with everything.
I had 6 months. That was all I did. 15 of them is done. I wrote 18. So we're releasing 15 first. So I have enough material for 2 years. So the other 3, I would decide whether to collapse it into one entity or just release it.
So it's been an amazing show. I didn't want it to end. I just wanted to keep talking and talking. There's a wealth of knowledge, and I think that a lot of it will be in this book. So guys, please get your own copy. Volume by volume. If you want to get to this place in life where you are rich, successful, you're a veteran and everything, please get the gift in the odds, walking through the walls. Every volume has its own special.
Yeah, we figured it out. So this walking through the walls, there's how to deal with grief. Okay. There's love unprecedented. There's just a lot of things. We found odd, little nomenclatures for each of there's to term it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. This has been one hell of a tea session. Please cheers to this tea, and thank you, Lipton, for keeping it refreshed and allowing us to experience human connection over this cup or with this cup of tea. Thank you, Uncle Jim, for coming.